Hey everybody, it's Christine of Crafty Paws. Wanted to share some cards that I've made. These cards are all going to be sent to Sherain, who's Proudmommy702. She's having a to die for, in quotes, giveaway challenge. It's actually for a really great cause. Her son, who's a Cub Scout, their troop is collecting cards to give to nursing homes and hospitals, and I just thought that's a wonderful thing to do, so I wanted to lend my support. I'm going to put a link in the description box below so you can check out all the details for yourself. But I wanted to share the cards that I made. I actually used this die, and that's one of the requirements, to use a die. This is one that was gifted to me by Myra, who's Crafty Rats here on YouTube. She hasn't been on for a while, so I've been thinking about her and concerned about her. Anyway, this was in a prize pack that I won from Myra, and I wanted to use this ever since she gifted it to me. And so I decided I was going to make these kinds of cards. So I took a regular size card base and die cut this on one edge. And then it's such a fun die because you can embellish it in so many different ways. I inked up the scissors, the spool, the buttons, and I guess that's a spool too, right? A metal spool, the kind that goes into a sewing machine. I inked those all up with my Distress inks. So there's kind of a vintagey look to it, but I actually used all of these Distress inks. This is all but one of the Distress inks that I own. Vintage Photo, Walnut Stain, Forest Moss, and Victorian Velvet. And I just used ink daubers that I had received ways back from Skeeta, who's Tie Fly Designs here on YouTube. And then I just use lots of little scraps of paper and scraps of ribbon and trim, various trims and ribbons, and these buttons were gifted to me by two Lauras, actually. Laura Loves Lace and Little Lulu Scraps. Little Lulu Scraps also gifted me this twine. It's so pretty. It's kind of an orange and brown, very autumnal. And inside, I also inked up the inside, and I used a little bit strip that was left over from this front cover just to make it coordinating. And then I stamped out using these little tiny alpha stamps that you can pick up at Michael's for like $1.50 or something. Studio G, and I've never used these, and these are actually much easier to use than I thought. And I just, the typical pun, we love you so much, and so is spelled like the sewing so. And the so, as you can see, is a bigger font, and I use this font set, which is from American Crafts, and I had picked up when I first started crafting at Tuesday Morning. I think it was probably like $2. But this is actually really the only alpha stamp that I have that's of a bigger size. So I just stamped that out. I distressed white cardstock all along the edges, a little darker, and then softened up the inside as well. This is obviously the Forest Moss to coordinate with the trims and the paper in the front. And then I put glossy accents over the scissors, as well as the metal spool, quote unquote metal spool. And I think that came out super cute. I did another one using a little scrap of doggy bone paper. This is, again, more trim. And I ran out of this twine, so I actually used real baker's twine. The kind that you use in cooking to tie up a roast turkey or something like that. And I thought that coordinated nicely with this very beautiful crochet trim that has iridescent sequins and little tiny beads in it. I don't know if you guys can make that out. It's so pretty. Anyway, and then inside I did it again. Added 2 banners this time. And then, the other thing that I did, and I forgot to mention, is I had messed up a little bit in stamping. I tried to use an exclamation point, but the exclamation point on this stamp set, at least mine in particular, comes out looking like a little line instead of an actual line and a dot. So I used this punch. It's an EK Success punch that I hunted for a really long time and finally got. And I'm actually using it less for the whole scallop circle and more for the little hearts. So I took the last little bit of scrap paper that I had that was like this, this bone paper, and I just punched out little tiny hearts and glued those on as well. And I think that came out very sweet, very cute. And I really do like this vintage look, especially with this particular die. Excuse me. And then one last one I did in more rose colors, and obviously I used the Victorian velvet color for the distressing on this one. I used more little scraps of lace. This one's a pink color to coordinate with the paper. This one I used all baker's twine, and I actually really like this too because you can fray out the edges of the twine after tying it into a little knot on the buttons. And then inside, I actually had 1/2 of the square doily left, and I thought, oh, how pretty that would be on the inside. So I did that. And this otherwise is the same, other than I stamped, I wanted, because I put these banners in and they were so long, I could only fit sew here without it showing beyond the die cut edge. So I stamped the sew here and then stamped in reverse, "We love you, sew." And the other ones I added much at the end. So that's it. Those are my cards. I hope you guys will participate in Sherain's challenge. It's such a nice cause. And that's it. I hope you guys are having a great day, and thanks for watching. Bye.